I wanted to read some of it. Reread, I guess. Not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book? Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday... That's not what I meant. I mean... I just happened to buy 2 of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and reliable story. Is that so? What's it about anyways? Well... Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over to the back. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. Never heard that book before. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Alright. I just wanted to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in high school who moves with her long-lost younger sister. But as soon as she does so, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from human experience prison. And while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationship, and her life starts to fall apart. That's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Alex? No, that's not. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot about Yuri's into those things. She's so shy, reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that those kinds of stories, they challenge you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen not just because someone wants to be evil, but because they have their own goals or their own philosophy that they believe in. And suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they made out to be naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plans. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So, I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much. That's... I really don't think you need to worry. It just means you're passionate about reading. The last thing I can do is listen. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? You don't have to. What are you saying? Just a moment ago, you said that you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slipped into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. That's... I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright? Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading it in company. Shoot. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not particularly bad, and not really a bad thing, maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri's in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glanced over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry. I was just... Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? I don't really mean to. So sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then held my book more between the two of us. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each leaned in a little bit, our shoulders almost touching. That was a weird phrase. It feels like my left arm is in a way, so instead I used my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it kind of physical to turn the page. Here. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way I turn the page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddling even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. As if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? To turn the page. Sorry. I think I got a little distracted for a second. I glanced over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes met. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah. Thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she's finished the page before me, so I turn it by my own violation. Violation? I don't know that one word. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimidating exchange. My thumb gently lets go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri. This might be silly though, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. You think so? How does she? Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second guesses all the things that she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerism. I see. You remain silent for a moment. But, Alex, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. That's so embarrassing that you think that. Wait! I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. So sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. I guess I more meant that it's kind of cute. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. I can't read. We might not have enough time if we wait a little too long. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. That's not... It's fine. Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright. I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I read it with you? I guess I don't have much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll be reading a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a bit, you know. That's a good reason. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters on your own time. Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slipped it back into my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much of inspiration since I never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share it with? Haha, I can't wait! Saori and Monica enthusiastically pulled out their poems. Saori is on the wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pretense handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Who should I share my poem with? Yuri. I don't want... No. Yuri. Yuri seems the most experienced, so I should start with her. I can trust her opinion to be fair. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. Huh? What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. He's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imaginary and metaphors indicates that you've written a lot of poetry before. Ah, yes, I have. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly. She then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem as if breaking it down even more thoroughly. Yeah. Okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kinda learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form fit the two together. The end result is that both styles and expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone and sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing, even a sample poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in this club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I should be talking about people like that. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri's apologizing to herself or to me or Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? But please do. I'd love to share my thoughts process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily as if a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? I can't read that. Shoot. I don't know how to... I can't read cursive. Uh-oh, that's bad. I used to do cursive back in like 4th grade. It must be this one. Okay. Tendrils of my hair, illuminating breath, the amber glow, bathing. It must be this one. That last summering sheetlight to have stood the test of time. Okay. At last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, cleanse bathing air of the present, living in the past. The light flickens. I flicking back. So she's bathing in a pond. It's nighttime, right? Illuminating beneath amber glow. Bathing, amber glow. No, it's sunset. But this one, she's bathing in the sunset in some kind of river or pond, thinking about back in time or thinking about the future is what I think. I'm sorry, I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you so long. It took you a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting's pretty. That's a relief. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It was too short? I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you liked it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Hew. Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Alec. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance at it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experience with their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past. Yeah, I was thinking something like this person was contemplating looking back in time or looking into the future, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn putting it that way. Sorry, I was distracted. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive. Huh? It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so... Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this. But in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Alex. Me too. Sayuri was the second person that liked the poem. Well, I'm gonna save here. That's about it for now. Hope you guys like this part of Doki Doki. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!